Welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige Gray. I'm an interior designer working along the coast of British Columbia on all sorts of really fun island and coastal homes. This week, I'm tackling a project on our own home, our deck, which we have procrastinated on for the last 3 years. To give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, we've nearly renovated everything on the inside of this house, so this is one of the last projects to completing this home. However, it is also a pricey one, not to mention an entire story and a half above the ground, which makes it a little bit trepidatious. Like any fun project on an old home, I am sure that when we start to crack this nut open, there are going to be all sorts of scattywampus adventures to be dealt with. But this deck also happens to be one of the best qualities of this home. The views from here are spectacular. The cruise ships literally feel as though they're in our backyard. This deck, although narrow, is very, very long. It spans the entire width of our house, which happens to be just over 40 feet. It also joins all 3 bedrooms that are on the upstairs to the view. I loved when we were touring this house. It felt like there were floor-to-ceiling windows in every single room, and that was because of the sliding doors in every bedroom. Tear out for this thing is going to be a little bit of a doozy, but as with anything, we're going to put our positive mindset hat on and get this job done, because the outcome is going to be well worthwhile the effort. There is something about a project you've been putting off for years that holds a kind of quiet intimidation. This deck, 40 feet long and a story and a half off the ground, has been that for us. Every time I looked at it, I could feel the mental load of someday waiting there, and someday finally arrived. We knew it would be a beast, we just didn't realize how personal it would feel, how taking something apart would echo the exact process of what it means to rebuild anything in life. The first few boards came up easy, and for a moment I thought, oh, maybe this won't be so bad. But then came the rot, the hidden water damage, the bolts rusted into unrecognizable fossils. And suddenly what started as a deck demo turned into a crash course in humility, problem solving, and patience. There's a certain honesty in demolition. You can't hide what's underneath once you start peeling it back. And in a weird way, that's comforting because you finally know what you're dealing with. Designing homes has taught me that we all have a fresh start, but very few of us are ready for what it takes to get there. The dust, the noise, the days where nothing seems to move forward is messy, and so is growth. Doing all of this with kids around, that's another adventure entirely. We're talking dump runs with sippy cups, snack negotiations mid-demo, nap schedules that never align with the good weather window. There's something grounding about having little ones nearby when you tear something big apart. A reminder of why you're doing it at all. Because the goal isn't just a beautiful deck, it's a safe, happy place to land as a family. Some days it felt like juggling sawdust and parenthood and creative direction all at once. Other days I'd find beauty in the rhythm of it. The sounds of boards dropping, the realization that this is exactly what real life looks like when you're building something worth keeping. When I work with clients, I often see the same fear, the hesitation to start because they know the middle will be messy. But the middle is where you discover what's real. It's where character is built, in the structure and in yourself. So if you're standing at the edge of your own daunting project, the one that's waited too long, just start. You'll figure it out as you go. Hire help when you need it, take breaks when you must, and don't mistake the chaos for failure. The mess isn't a setback, it's proof you're in the motion. Every board you lift, every dump run, every unknown you face, that's forward movement. This is the part that refines you. The undoing is never wasted work. It's how we make room for what's next. It's a little bit windy. Welcome to outdoor renovations in the Pacific Northwest. It is wet, it is wild, it is windy, it is definitely October. So far we have everything up until this point with new decking on it. We replaced anything rotten and had a professional's help to get that done. Now we're hitting no rot, which is always a blessing in disguise. We've got 2 more segments of 4x8 sheet ply to replace, and then the decking guy is gonna come and put down the vinyl, and then railings, because life without railings is a little wild and unhinged. Not that I don't mind things being a little bit wild and chaotic. It's kind of the case for anything worthwhile in life. Whoa, don't fall. Once the old boards were gone, there was this rare moment of stillness, the kind that sits between endings and beginnings. It's that pause where you finally see possibility again. Rebuilding felt different. It wasn't just about putting something new in place of the old. It was about doing it better, stronger, more intentionally. And honestly, that's the same approach I take in design. I tell my clients all the time, anyone can buy pretty things, but true design is about how those choices stand up to a real life. To weather, to time, to toddlers with chalk. The rebuild was our test. cost. We brought in help for the framing because sometimes expertise isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. And there's no shame in that. There's a confidence that comes from saying, I can't do this part alone, and trusting someone who can. That balance between DIY and delegation, that's where homeowners thrive. Once the structure started to take shape, so did our rhythm. The kids helped with painting scraps. We learned to measure twice or 5 times because the lumberyard is not a short drive from here. Every board we placed became a little moment of progress, a visible reminder that big things happen through tiny, repetitive effort. But what surprised me most wasn't how the deck came together, it was how we came together while doing it. There's something powerful about watching your family build something with their own hands. It teaches resilience, teamwork, and patience, 3 things that are surprisingly useful both in construction and in parenting. As a designer, I've realized that mindset is everything. The homeowners who thrive during renovations aren't the ones with unlimited budgets. They're the ones who stay flexible, who laugh when plans change, who let the process teach them something because it always does. This deck reminded me that the real art of design isn't in creating a flawless result, it's in crafting a space that tells a story of perseverance. And I think that's what I love most, how a simple rebuild can become a metaphor for every hard season of life. When something gives out, you assess, you repair, and you move forward stronger. Now, standing on this deck, I see more than new boards and railings. I see late nights, early mornings, tired hands, and a quiet kind of pride that only comes from doing the hard thing. This space isn't just functional, it's emotional architecture. It holds the story of what it took to get here. So if you're staring down the project that feels too big, start anyway. You'll learn what you're capable of, and when you hit those roadblocks, and you will, just remember progress isn't linear. Sometimes you move an inch, sometimes a mile, but every nail, every lesson, every adjustment is proof that you're building something that matters, because in the end, it never is just about the deck. It's about the people standing on it, the life you're building right alongside it, and the courage it takes to say, let's do this anyway. We have a deck. The project is done. It was a doozy, I'm not gonna lie. We got help in all the right ways to make this project as efficient as possible and did all the heavy lifting that we possibly could ourselves to keep the budget down and the project moving along smoothly. Just in time for our Pacific Northwest rainstorms, I might add. We don't have to worry about the railings not being to code anymore. Everything is safe and secure, and it feels so good. This project is something that we were putting off for some time, and to have it done just feels like a big bucket list item off of our chest for this house. And all of the renovations that we've taken on to this point, this has been the biggest one by far. This project has admittedly taken a little bit more time. If you haven't noticed, I've been a little bit late posting to YouTube. That being said, it took all of our might and muster to make this project happen. And because we did a lot of it ourselves, that means my husband and I are handing off kids in between coming out here to work on it, while also running my own design business and taking on a very exciting project in the last few weeks that will take place over the next coming year, which I'm very excited about and will be its own YouTube in the near future. Thank you so much for coming along on this deck renovation journey. If you have enjoyed it, subscribing means more than you know. And if you'd like to follow along on the everyday chaos that happens behind the more formal YouTubes, be sure to go follow at Paige Gray Studios on Instagram. That's where all the chaos, the toast crumbs, the interior design content on the daily happens, and where all of the best conversations seem to be had. Until then, let's go watch this next video together.